Boom, shakalaka boom. It's a FAFO Friday here on the Clay Edwards Show, live on 103.9 FM WYAB, streaming worldwide, WYAB.com, as well as the TuneIn app and Alexa. Just search WYAB. I was listening to the intro there, and it said more testosterone for your morning drive. I mean, we're peaking on all meters, all registrable meters over here. Our testosterone is maxed out, and yours can be too. If you'll text FREE, free, to Men's Health of Mississippi for your free testosterone screening today. 601-327-8550. That's it, man. Just text the word free to 601-327-8550. Or, you know, if you so choose, you can go by there in person and set up an appointment. 120 Fountains Boulevard in Madison, Mississippi, or check them out online at menshealthms.com. But if you text the word free, the radio show does get credit for it. They'll know where it came from. And that helps them know where they can continue to spend their advertising dollars. And we always appreciate that. And look, man, me and Shaun here are walking, talking billboards for this stuff. I had somebody yesterday at the we went to that Trump rally. I went to that Trump rally, and I had somebody walks in, man, are you doing steroids now? It's like, as a matter of fact, I am.
Yeah.
Legally, testosterone. They said, you have blowed up. I was like, I'll take that as a compliment. They said, it is one. I was like, appreciate it. You know, it's funny, and all joking aside, man, just I hadn't had bread in over 6 weeks, or pasta. I did eat a cauliflower crust pizza last night.
Oh man, those are good.
They really are. I mean, don't get me wrong, they have some carbs, they don't have sugar.
Right. Yeah.
You know, and I know the pizza sauce has probably got a little, you know, it may have a little sugar in it, but whatever. It's still better than eating a regular pizza.
Yeah.
But that's only the second time I've had anything like that, with that type texture in nearly 2 months now. And, man, just working out 5 days a week, like really focusing on protein and stuff. And it's amazing. Like, you walk by the mirror and, like, when you notice yourself, you're starting to see something. Because you see yourself every day, so it's hard to notice. But when you notice, it's like, dang.
It's like when you don't know when you're gaining weight until you try on, like, older clothes or something. You know, then you're like, dang it. And then you try to, like, mind F yourself that it's, like, not going on. You're like, oh, no, I mean, I must have washed these.
I dried them
that's
a year ago.
Yeah. You're like, oh, I washed them too much.
Yeah, that was so. Look, man, you start feeling better about yourself, and it gets way more than about muscle gains. You could be dealing with multiple things: fatigue, decreased muscle tone, lack of energy, low libido. That's your sex drive. Just ask your wife; she'll let you know if you're dealing with low libido, brain fog, or sleep disturbances. Man, it can help all of that. And if you're suffering any of those, you could be suffering from low T. So just one last time, let's get the show started. Text the word free, FREE, to 601-327-8550. And look, the anti-aging clinic, too, so they got more than just testosterone. Go see Scott McCullough and Dr. Michael Walker today. All right, Shaun.
Yep.
Guns and Gear text line, 769-241-1944. The Mazda of Jackson phone line. Man, y'all get out there to Mazda of Jackson this weekend. Check out that new CX-9 before you even think about buying another SUV right there at Briarwood. Check them out online, MazdaofJackson.com. 601-879-0002. I got a feeling that the phone line's going to be blowing up. I'll be surprised because, you know, we can't talk guns without the phone line blowing up. So I stumbled across, and look, we got some big Jackson news to talk about. The mayor, potentially, Jody Owens, multiple city council people, FBI. We got all kind of stuff that C.J. LeMasters over at WLBT and them broke yesterday. So if they can talk about it, we can talk about it. But I want this Hunter Biden stuff. This is my question of the day. So I stumbled across a little segment on Fox and Friends last night on YouTube as I was working out. And they brought up a great point. Like I said, I don't know who the other guy, I'm not sure who this guy was that was talking. But he said he foresees a guilty verdict. And then he also foresees it being turned over on appeals based on the absoluteness of the Second Amendment. And that it's not illegal to be a crackhead and own a gun unless you've been charged with being a crackhead. Like, well, you don't. It's not illegal to be a crackhead, but it's illegal to possess crack.
Yeah.
Or drugs, whatever. I'm just using crackhead since we're talking about Hunter Biden.
Yeah. His drug of choice. Was that it?
His drug of choice is crack. So, but it made for an interesting quandary, a bit of a mind screw, and it's all right. Most Second Amendment folks are probably conservative, generally speaking. At least that would be the narrative that the media likes to push anyway. That the gun lovers are also all Republicans. And the media, and I think it plays out for the most part, with the exception of people like yourself with the military background and stuff. Most Democrats seem to be anti-gun, take the guns, disarm the people so we can continue to insert our Marxist, fascist ways upon them and then not be able to fight back. So he suggests that when this thing gets appealed, it could be appealed on the absoluteness of the Second Amendment. So I got to thinking. I'm talking to my Second Amendment folks out there, my conservatives, my gun toters, my anti-hunter, the people who want blood, the people who want to see a Biden go to jail, like myself. Well, could you also see yourself pulling for Biden if he's guilty, for his verdict to be appealed and overturned, if it also means getting that damn checkbox removed from the application because it's a violation of your constitutional rights?
And so, I mean, that's what you're saying, that on appeal, they think that they're going to say that checkbox is unconstitutional based on the Second Amendment.
Yeah.
And that because they can't be a qualifier onto owning a gun other than, I guess, being a convicted felon.
Correct.
Right, okay. Yeah.
What do you think?
I think that's really interesting. And I told you that last night. I think that's a really interesting thing debate they had. I think if you're looking at the Second Amendment, I wish I was more versed in that law. I know there's a whole cases that go through, and the gun folks will probably know this better than I do. Heller and all those things, where you can, what the standard is. I think if you're looking at it just as a Second Amendment absolutist, reading the plain text of it, yeah, I mean, I would think that fits. Like, why can they put the qualifier? You can't be a drug addict and buy a gun. Like, why not?
I would like to know when that got added to it.
That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know when they decided to throw that in there.
Yeah. I'm not sure on that.
I wonder what gives the federal government the power to regulate that, to make that a qualifier. I've never looked into that. So, I mean, that's interesting. But I mean, just reading the plain text of it, I would say no. But of course, there's all these other qualifiers on it. Like, I think you can't own a bazooka or a fully automatic weapon. Is that right?
Yeah.
I mean, so they do put other kinds of qualifiers on it. I don't know how this one fits into it, but I might do some research on that because that's really interesting.
Well, I can understand limiting the power of the firearm. If you want to have, I don't like it. I'm just saying, but you can make me understand that when we talk about air quotes common sense gun control. I can understand my not preferring my neighbor not have a bazooka.
Yeah,
especially
not around my neighborhood.
Yeah, some neighborhoods are Jackson.
Yeah,
some neighbors are Jacksonians.
I mean, if they get a bazooka, they'd have one.
Oh yeah,
oh, man, I got the mental image of that now. Just riding around, out the side of the window with a bazooka.
So we got our first text here, Guns and Gear text line. Speaking of guns and gear and Second Amendment, get out to Guns and Gear and get you some freedom seeds and some guns that let them take care of all your gunsmithing and Cerakoting needs as well. Located right there on Highway 51 North at Yandell Road. That's Guns and Gear. They'll be open today and tomorrow, closed Sunday and Monday. You can shop them online. GunsandGearMS.com. Go see Hunter and the team. Anyway, first text, absolutely in favor of the absoluteness of the Second Amendment. Mm-hmm. That's kind of where my mind is at on it. I would be willing to sacrifice a Hunter Biden guilty verdict to have more absoluteness on our Second Amendment, like a trade.
What if he gets found not guilty, though? Do you think there would be? I mean, I guess you guys that are the Second Amendment folks could lobby to get this taken off, or I don't know. I mean, I guess you'd have to probably go through some sort of lawsuit, and would there have to be an actual injury? So you were somebody that was denied it because they were a drug addict and they didn't want to check the box.
There's another. Well, it also ties into the medical marijuana cards a lot too.
Yeah,
there's a case out of the Fifth Circuit that happened down on the coast, Biloxi, Gulfport, somewhere like that, where a guy got pulled over with some weed or something, and they had a gun. They got him. It was a weird. I forget the details, but it would have something to do with medical marijuana.
Yeah,
and they're now saying that a medical marijuana card should not keep you from being able to get a firearm.
Right.
And I mean, that's kind of the decision out of the Fifth Circuit. It's going to have to go to the Supreme Court, I'm sure. Because, of course, the government's going to fight this.
The Fifth Circuit has said that the medical marijuana card should not prevent you from.
Correct.
Like, so you shouldn't have to check that box that you're a drug addict because you're.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the federal government just.
I don't think that, having a medical marijuana card doesn't make you a drug addict.
No.
There's a weird gray area there. I don't think, checking that. I mean, the exact language ain't addict, I don't think, but it's, user
of drugs, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you can. I mean, just because you drink alcohol doesn't make you an alcoholic either, right? That's kind of the same thing. So, I mean, I know we're bordering the line sometimes, but yeah, no, I mean, is that on the? I don't know what's on that form. Is that on the form too? Like, you're an excessive drinker, or is it just drugs?
I think it's just drugs.
Okay.
Well, I think it refers to like drugs, alcohol. Are you a drunkard or a drug addict type question? I may have my language a little off. Somebody can send me a screenshot of it. People have multiple times. I just don't save it. But. Because I'll say this: just because you're a crack addict, does that mean you shouldn't be able to protect yourself?
Right. Yeah, I mean, where if you get high all the time, did you be able to?
Do you forfeit your right to protect your home?
Yeah, I mean, now I'd rather somebody that's drinking all the time forfeit it. To be honest with you, feels it's a lot more dangerous.
Somebody that takes Xanax.
Yeah.
Abuses Xanax, mixes a little Xanax and vodka.
Yeah, man, that's a.
Or gosh, there's people who are jacked up on SSRIs doing the school shootings.
Oh God, yeah. See, there you go. I mean, alcohol to me is people get far more aggressive when they're drinking than they do on a lot of other drugs. So.
Yeah, that's what the texts are rolling in on the Guns and Gear text line. Unknown texture just took the words right out of my mouth. Says, "What about SSRIs? They change the way the brain believes." Exactly. Yeah. Says, aren't they an exclusion from purchasing a firearm? Probably should be. Based on all the school shootings and mass shootings we've had and all those people are jacked up on SSRIs, I would much prefer a cracked out Hunter Biden rolling around with a gun than some trans nut job jacked up on SSRIs.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think, for all his faults, I don't know that Hunter Biden is going to shoot anybody.
No.
You know what I mean? Like,
Hunter Biden's like Jody Owens and Chokwe. He's just a studio gangster.
Yeah. I just think he's more likely to take pictures with a gun and some prostitutes in a hotel room than he is to go to a school and shoot somebody.
He's just popping for the gram.
Yeah, exactly. He's not going to kill anybody.
Blake's got a question for you here, Shaun. And question for Shaun: don't some states have it where it is illegal to possess a firearm while you are drinking or intoxicated? If so, then if they can prove he was high and was in possession of it, then did he break the law? Let me read that one. Did you understand the question?
Yeah, I understand. Okay. I don't know if states, I don't know specifically any state laws that there may be. I'm not aware of them that prohibit you from possessing a firearm while you're drinking. I don't know that I've ever read that before. I mean, it may be true. I just don't know. I don't know off the top of my head. I don't know that. I don't know that I've heard that before. I mean, I think it's a good idea, but I don't know how do you enforce it, right? Like, how do you know who's drinking or high, and then you're.
And that's it. Now, if we're talking about prescription meds here, circle back to that. I mean, there's obviously a database.
Yeah.
For this, now do you marry the databases, and that goes back into somebody just asked if the appeal won, would that also by the president for the removal of would that set precedent for the removal of the mental health concerns also in the red flags?
I think that's a good. I thought about that when you were sending me that last night. Is that going to get rid of some of the red flag laws? And I think potentially when you're talking about an absolutist position, it could. Yeah, I think that's definitely true.
Like, I can't be an absolutist and then say, except for people with SSRIs because they're nut jobs. Because let's just be honest, everybody that takes SSRIs ain't a nut job.
Sure.
But it just so happens all the people who are nut jobs seem to be on SSRIs.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's. I thought of the texter's question last night when you sent that. I thought, what is that going to do to the those kinds of red flag laws? And I mean, it probably would. If you're taking that position, or if the court does, then it would strike them down, I would think.
I guess it goes back to the people who are willing to sacrifice freedoms for safety deserve neither.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's a survival of the sickest out here.
For sure.
Great segment, guys. Keep the text coming in. 769-241-1944 is the Guns and Gear text line. The Mazda of Jackson phone line. We'd love to hear your takes on this. 601-879-0002. I guess really, so the question of the day is this. Let's just tweak it just a little bit. Are you are you a Second Amendment absolutist? Does everybody, regardless of mental capacity, deserve to own a firearm? Because some people's crazy, maybe somebody else is normal. Just like another man's trash may be another man's treasure. I think it's very hard to say. It's a simple yes or no question. Are you a true absolutist no matter what? Or do you think there should be some regulations? Let me know. Yes or no. We'll be right back with Shaun YURTKURAN here on The Clay Edwards Show. Welcome back into The Clay Edwards Show here with Shaun YURTKURAN on a FAFO Friday. Guys, it's Friday night, or it's going to be Friday night. I can't think of anything better to do if you're out in Madison County, hey, or come to Madison County for that matter. I did a few weeks ago. Went on a little Madison County restaurant bar hopping tour. Come down to Flora, downtown Flora, legendary downtown Flora. Check out Parlor 1886 tonight. Stop by this afternoon for happy hour. Grab some cold beer, great drinks, good food, and just relax in Flora's living room. Man, they got these nice little VIP couch sections, but you ain't got to be a VIP to sit at them. They're first come, first serve. Couches that face each other with a coffee table in the middle, man. Meet some new friends. Hang out with some old friends. They got the bar top tables, or the high top tables. They got a little area with usually have a solo musician playing the acoustic stuff. Sometimes they have karaoke. They got skeet ball, and they're putting an old school arcade in the back. They got all the TVs up, big flat screens for all the, I guess, the NBA and NHL playoff action. Check them out. Enjoy yourself tonight in Flora, right out here in Madison County at Parlor 1886. It's located right next door to Railroad Pizza, if you're familiar with the area. But look, let's just be honest. Downtown Flora is one street. You should be able to find it. Check them out tonight, Parlor 1886. Guns and Gear text line, 769-241-1944. Mazda of Jackson phone line, 601-879-0002. We got two topics today. We got this gun topic, and we got Jackson. We got a lot of text on the guns, and we're going to ride it out for just a minute, and then we're going to get to Jackson. Man, some big stuff broke yesterday, which frankly just confirmed information that Shaun and I have been having to keep our mouths shut about for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, C.J. LeMaster's report is really great. It's really great work.
Yeah, groundbreaking even. Yeah. We're going to get to that. And, hey, that's what this show is about. This whole show was started to help bring down the Free the Land power structure in Jackson. And I'm not taking credit for it, but I'm going to celebrate it. I'm absolutely going to celebrate it when it happens. But anyway, till then, Paul texted in on the Guns and Gear text line. No, there are too many people out there that are mentally unstable or who get effed up and can't control their temper. Here's my problem with that, and I don't disagree with you, Paul. I don't. But here's my rebuttal. The cat's out the bag. There's a billion guns out here. You know, crazy people going to get guns. Should they be able – I guess the question is, should we mitigate that some by not allowing them to purchase through somebody with an FFL? Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't personally have a problem with that. But, I mean, how do you say this, man? Just because you're crazy doesn't mean you shouldn't be able to defend yourself.
Yeah.
Like you now, maybe if they're prescribed a certain kind of medicine, an SSRI, maybe they need to do another type of exam, and a doctor kind of make that call. Mm-hmm. And says, "Man, you're suicidal," you know, because I don't think you can necessarily predict somebody is going to be homicidal, right?
No, I don't think so. I mean, some people, but
yeah, some people,
but not everybody.
But you can definitely, you know, tell if somebody, a good psychiatrist, psychologist, whatever, can definitely tell if somebody is suicidal.
Yeah,
you know, through some stuff.
Sure.
Like I guess I got to lean towards being an absolutist on this because heck, I think felons should get their rights back.
Yeah, excluding
violent felons.
You know, I thought about just what you said. The cat's already out the bag. That's kind of where I've always been with guns, and the way I thought about like, okay, like if you told me hypothetically, if you said if we ban all guns and we end all murders, then you know what? I'd be like, cool, let's do it, and I wouldn't care about this. Like, I'm gonna be honest, like that was gonna save everybody's life in this hypothetical world. But that's just not reality.
Yeah.
That's not reality. It's not going to happen. So if you start banning guns, and I mean, other people are going to have guns, and that's the problem. So where that doesn't work. And so I think that's kind of where, where we're at, where that kind of strategy is just not effective for, I mean, where there's plenty of guns and people are going to get them, and just what it is.
So I told you last night, I in my mind, I drew this comparison to my abortion stance. Mm-hmm. Deep down, do I believe that if a 15-year-old girl gets raped by somebody and gets pregnant, should she be able to get an abortion? I mean, deep down, if you're just looking at logistics of it and the inconvenience in life that can cause, yeah, I mean, maybe. You can make that argument.
Sure.
A kind of a common sense argument there. But you're either pro-life or you're not. And I'm pro-life. So I just have to sit here and say that's God's will. And it sucks. You were dealt a bad hand. Adoption's always an option, or maybe that baby's born and you decide that you want to be a mother when it's born. Mm-hmm. And that's a tough play. It's easy for me to say in this position.
Yeah.
But I understand that, and I feel like you kind of have to play that same hand with the Constitution, period. Not just Second Amendment, with the whole damn thing. There's going to be some things you don't like. You're either an absolutist or you're not. Well,
we do have, we got limits on other amendments, of course. Like, for example, freedom of expression. You can't go into a theater and yell fire. I mean, you can't do that. So
why is that? Everybody uses that expression, and I've yet to really wrap my head around why getting people to get up and walk outside and go back in is such a crime.
Well, I guess like they stomp all over each other, from you not using the word right, whatever it is. They'll trample. Thank you.
I finally got you on a word.
You got me on a word. Yeah. And it's so to call it, somebody might get hurt. I mean, so you don't have a right. Your freedom of expression doesn't include a right to incite violence.
Gotcha.
Is what it is. Yeah. And so I mean, there are limits there. When you think about it that way.
Yeah. I mean, like public nudity.
Right. Yeah. That doesn't include your freedom of expression to do that. Or the government can place limits on it, if there's laws against that. As they should with that. I mean, honestly, some people I don't want to see naked. So, I mean, there is governmental limits on the amendments. It's just not, all of them aren't just, straight up. So, I mean, that's why I guess they're able to pass certain things here. So.
All right, Chad on the Guns and Gear text line. The person who rapes my daughter will be getting a post-birth abortion.
Yeah,
that's where the Second Amendment comes back into play.
Yeah, that's where you get the Second Amendment.
What are the shirts like? If this happens, see back to number 2.
Yeah, that's when you come to the DA's office and you're like, okay, well, you sure get a manslaughter conviction with the probation. Like that's it. We're gonna let you go.
We're gonna let this slide. Mm-hmm. Let's see here, Stephen on Guns and Gear text line. Look at the knife crime in the UK and other places with strict gun laws. They find a way to get it done. That's so true.
Yeah, I've read about that, and he's right about that. Yeah.
That's so true. Reagan
people like to kill each other, Clay. That's let's just be honest here.
It's the American way.
Yeah, it's American way. It's world history way. Yeah. We just tend to. I mean, it'd be like Braveheart up in here if we didn't have any guns,
I mean, think about catapults.
Yeah, catapults. Right. Was it Trebuchet?
Bows and arrows.
Used to shoot the balls across. Yeah.
I mean, there's tons of accidental. There's tons of accidental deaths a year.
Yeah, we'll come up with a way to kill somebody. Like we'll inventive ways to do it.
Let's see here. Reagankin says, my biggest problem is that the federal government does not have the power to regulate the individual ownership of guns. D.C. should have no say. I would be more amenable to state regulations of individual gun ownership, but I still land on the side of individuals owning guns no matter what. I like the energy because we live in a state like Mississippi, but then you think of states like Illinois, particularly Chicago, and states like New York
or California. Like, what would they enact?
Yeah,
if you're allowed to do that.
I mean, they've made it so expensive to own a gun there with the taxes and and everything that it's just not feasible.
I mean, you get arrested if you look at a gun on TV in California. Right?
Yeah, what do you think about? We need to go to a break, but just real quick, what do you think about cities having their own gun rules versus a state? Like Chicago has stricter gun laws than the rest of Illinois.
Yeah, and I don't know. I've never really delved into that too much. I know that's what happens, but I just it seems, I don't know I wonder how that works legally. I'm just never really delved into it because it seems like to me to be a problem. Like, how can the city regulate your right over the?
I don't even like the state being able to. I'm a federal. What is federalism? But states have
Yeah.
control. Yeah, federalism. I like federalism, but I don't like it to the extent that it violates your constitutional rights.
Yeah, I mean, I just, there's obviously regulations that they can put in place. Like you can't, like we're an open carry state that's in the Constitution, and it's the state constitution. You can't, you have to get certain permits to have a concealed permit. I mean, I think the state can do things like that, which is fine, which I don't have an issue with necessarily. I wonder how that. It's interesting to me how that relates to the city level, where they can regulate that. It seems like that'd be a state issue to me more than anything else.
Yeah.
But
unknown texter, FAFO should be the law of the land when it comes to guns.
Well,
hard to argue.
It is a lot of times. I mean, like I'm sure today somebody probably will get killed in Jackson. I'm gonna guess.
Kim Wade's Gun and Knife Club starts today at 6:00.
Does he have a gun and knife club?
Well, that's what it called Jackson.
Oh, that's what he calls it. Okay,
yeah.
I mean, I just could see him actually having a gun and knife club.
Oh, yeah,
That's
why. like a Civil War relic hunter.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, let's take a break. We got Shaun YURTKURAN here in the studio with us. We'll be right back on WYAB. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. Guys, it's Friday. We love to make sure we mention our food sponsors, our restaurant sponsors. Acme Pizza and Daiquiris tonight, 4 p.m. to midnight, and tomorrow night, and Sunday night. They're open 7 days a week, 4 p.m. to midnight. Get out there, enjoy the best pizza in all of Rankin County. It's not even close. Check them out. Fresh made from scratch. I know y'all are so tired of hearing me talk about the pig, but you guys keep going and getting it and tagging me in your pictures. So I have to keep talking about it because it's just that dang good. But, man, they have so many other great pizzas over there. I just ain't got around to trying them yet. The pig. I mean, imagine fresh smoked pork on site. Then they put the bacon, raw by the way, the ham, raw by the way, on there, and they cook it. See, a lot of these pizza places, these fast food pizza places, they use pre-cooked toppings. So when they run them through the oven, it just defrosts them, and then it overcooks them and dries them out, like your sausage and hams and pepperonis and all that. At Acme, they go on there raw or, smoked, however you want to call that, fresh out the package. So they don't overcook. They're just being cooked one time. It's like imagine microwaving a pizza multiple times. And say you microwave one slice of pizza or 3 slices of pizzas, you only eat one, you throw the other 2 back in the fridge, you microwave them again. Well, you're cooking it more every time, and that's what ends up happening with these fast food pizza joints. Is they're just overcooking the food multiple times. The toppings, anyway. They don't use real cheese. Acme uses 100% authentic mozzarella cheese, crust made from scratch, all of it. Get out there, check it out. My point being, about the cooking the pork from raw. The juices, the fat, that bacon fat that we all use when we cook bacon in the kitchen to, I take my bacon fat and I save it and I cook it I cook eggs with it and saute vegetables and steak and everything else with it. But that just drips down to that cheese. It gets off into that crust and Anyway, get over to Acme Pizza and Daiquiri tonight. They got 12 different specialty pizzas, 9 different frozen daiquiris. They got a full bar, live entertainment, no cover charge. It's always available for carry out and delivery as well. And you can also get the daiquiris to go or delivered. That's right. The only place around here doing it as far as I know. Check them out today. Fannin Mart on the Res, located directly in front of the Fannin Lanes bowling alley in that cool little shopping center right there. That little shopping center is fun, man. There's a lot to do over there. Several bars. Got I think hands down the baddest gym in the state of Mississippi, that Cut and Dry gym.
Oh, right. I've never been there. Okay.
I hadn't been either, but I follow John Mark on social media, and it's the real deal. Cool. For sure. It's a bodybuilder gym.
Oh, is it? Okay, neat.
Yeah, it's cool, man. They got some really neat stuff there. I'll have to go one day. But you know what? Gyms have to be convenient for me.
Yeah.
And by what I just mean, like within 5 minutes of my house. Mm-hmm. I found me a nice little one, a locally owned one there in Brandon that I can kind of get in and out of and stuff, and it's just close to the house. But if I lived in 047, I'd pay the extra money for sure to work out there.
Yeah, it's tough to be a member of a gym that's like a little bit more than 5 miles from your house. I mean, I'm a member of CrossFit and Fontenwood Fitness, and they're all like right next door to each other.
It does. I mean, look, man, I understood. Like, I knew my weakness when it came to working out. It had to be convenient.
Mm-hmm.
and like not much off of my little path. And because you leave the gym, you're hot, sweaty. I like to start drinking my pre-workout on the way.
Yeah.
So about 10, 15 minutes, you're peaking. So anyway.
Except for me, I know you work out at home a lot, but like I have a whole setup too, and I got like a whole that Rogue setup for like and I just can't work out at the house. It just never works for me, and I got tons of stuff at the house. It just never works out.
I can't do back and legs at home.
Really?
Well, I mean, I got a squat rack. I can do squats, but like everything else, I can't do. So it's just like go to the gym. It's only $20 a month, you know. And I, frankly, I'm getting to where I'm going a little bit more for like shoulders and some other stuff too, because it's just. I got my dumbbells, and I can do a lot with them. My bench that's incline, decline, flat. Mm-hmm. You can get creative with dumbbells, and they're the adjustable ones. They go up to like 90 pounds.
Yeah,
I have yet to go up to the 90-pound mark. So yeah. Anyway, enjoying the gyms, but Acme Pizza and Daiquiris. You're going to need to go to a gym after you sit down and enjoy the pizza. They only serve them in large. They'll come with an appetite. And hey, look, they got more than just that. Try the dynamite balls, the pasta, the burgers, and more. Acme Pizza and Daiquiris. Locally owned, locally operated by WYAB's very own Chip Matthews. All right, Shaun, what we're going to do is we're going to finish out this hour.
Okay.
We're going to finish out this hour talking about this gun stuff. And then top of hour 2, we're getting into Jackson and the potential ramifications of this FBI investigation into our city officials. Brent says on the Guns and Gear text line, you hungry this morning? You went hard on that Acme read. Well, I mean, just sometimes I get on a roll, man. I'm just like, I get to thinking about pizza. I love pizza, and I've only had it twice in the last 2 months, and I didn't even have like real crust. I had cauliflower crust, which is amazing how you'll never think in your life that you would enjoy cauliflower anything, and then you do keto for 6, 7, 8 weeks. And you don't even know the difference by the time you circle back to eating something that tastes like bread. So, all right, Guns and Gear text line. Jerry says, you can predict 85% homicidal peeps. They have a Democrat voting record. That's very true. Factual information. Fact check confirmed.
Okay, yeah.
Hey, Shaun, speaking of fact checks confirmed, this story broke yesterday while I was live on the air. Joe Biden pooped his pants at the D-Day celebration.
I mean, I saw the video. I can't tell what he's doing there, Clay. I can't tell if that's what's going on or not. Maybe he did. I don't know. I have no idea. Just being honest, I have no idea.
Hey, but just admit that you voted for a guy that pooped his pants in public.
I don't know that he pooped his pants. I just saw a video of him kind of leaning over. I don't know what he was doing. No, I'm not saying it's not possible that he pooped his pants, but or that he has ever not pooped. I mean, I'm sure that's possible considering his age.
We've all
done it.
We've all shorted once or twice.
Heck yeah, I mean, it happens, especially when you're drinking real hard, man. I mean, don't tell me that has not happened to you before. If you say it didn't, you're lying.
I had a terrible experience one night after a bunch of Fireball on the way to work.
Oh God!
And it was my buddy Kyle who died. It was his. We had his. It wasn't his funeral. We had his we did a party. Like everybody just kind of got together and just one of those impromptu celebration of life parties at Capitol Grill, and way too much Fireball got to flowing. And I just remember I left my vehicle there and got a ride home, and my dad was taking me to my vehicle so I could go to work the next morning. And before we could get to Capitol Grill, there was just a bad situation unfolded in the vehicle. And I ended up having to call into work that day. They're like, why are you calling in? We told you not to drink so much last night. I was like, that's not why. That's not why. And I was like, I've had a bad situation unfold in the vehicle. And we'll just leave it at that. But I was like, you got to go home.
That's when you throw the clothes you're wearing away. I've been there before. It's like, goodbye, those jeans. Like, I'm not even going to,
people are probably listening right now. Like, what are we talking about? Back to poopy pants Biden. Shaun, okay, let's just take the poopy pants out of it.
Okay.
Let's just pretend for a second that he was only looking for an invisible chair.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's completely possible, right?
Yeah, I mean,
talk about Joe Biden.
Maybe he was just looking for the invisible chair.
Yeah,
and then, but I think what like all the potential joking and his dementia stuff aside. Mm-hmm. Being escorted directly off stage without shaking hands with any of the veterans, complete disrespect, especially from a guy that continues to try to say that Trump doesn't respect the military.
Did he? I missed that part. Did he just not shake his hand?
No, I mean, like before it was even over, he was escorted off stage by Dr. Jill Biden.
Maybe he had to go to the bathroom then.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, I'm not shaking anybody's hands in that situation.
He there's a picture, and you know how I know he did it, man? Because there's a point where he bends over.
Yeah.
And he like kind of grabs his knees, sort of, you know?
Oh.
And the two old World War II veterans behind him, the look on their faces of sheer disgust. Like, you could tell they knew what had happened. They saw the back of his pants.
Oh, okay.
He may have been wearing I'm sure he wears adult diapers.
I mean, he is at that age.
Like 30% of people over 80 wear adult diapers.
Yeah.
I did a little research yesterday.
It's really common. Sure. I mean,
there's been some mornings I should have, apparently.
I mean, it seems like it's that's kind of one of the things I'm looking forward to when I get old. You know, like you just
when I had my diverticulitis and I had that colostomy bag for 3 months. I'm not going to sit here and pretend it was the worst 3 months of my life.
That's what I mean. Like, saves you some time, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, just never even had to get up.
Yeah, just keep on watching TV and drinking. You know, it's great.
You always had a poot in a bag.
I mean, I did, to the same thing though. I remember there was
I had my own little whoopee cushion attached to my stomach.
Why doesn't Joe just have one of those? I mean, that would help him out.
Well, you would think at this point it would just make life easier.
Yeah, I mean, nobody would be making these memes about him then, because it just would.
I mean, because if you're his home health nurse, and I'm sure he has them, would you rather clean out a colostomy bag or have to wipe him?
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to wipe him down. That's God, I don't even think about that.
Think about back, hose him down.
I mean, I guess who's the presidential hoser? Like that kind of sucks, right?
Karine Jean-Pierre.
Yeah, I don't know if that's in her job duties there. You might see a new press secretary after that. There was that report though. Speaking of Joe Biden, in the Wall Street Journal, and I thought it seemed pretty fair the way they kind of interviewed a lot of different people for it. Did you read it?
I didn't read that, but I read the Daily Beast recap of it and how that the White House is mad at that guy because I guess he used to be her Jill Biden's press guy.
Okay, who wrote the article?
Yeah.
I mean, I read the article and I actually saw that person interviewed on CNN after that, and it was pretty fair. I mean, he interviewed several people like about the situation. It even seemed like just part of it where I thought Kevin McCarthy was covering for Biden a little bit.
It was talking about his age.
Yeah, and then kind of said, but I mean, he was kind of off a little bit. So I mean, it didn't seem like he was lying when they were interviewing Kevin McCarthy about it. I didn't get that from it.
But this has become a topic that the Biden administration has anchored down on, and they refuse to discuss it.
And I think there were people like in the administration that actually had admitted to it, like these are issues that we've seen. And I mean, and look, I think you can read that, and anybody, no matter what side of the aisle you're on, it's quite obvious to all of us that he's slowed down quite a bit. I was watching the 2020 debate about a week ago between him and Trump.
Hold that thought. We're up against the break. We'll be right back with Shaun YURTKURAN here on the Clay Edwards Show. Breaking rules when necessary. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. We got about a minute here. Shaun, you were wrapping up on the thoughts about the Biden and the Wall Street Journal report, saying it was kind of fair.
Yeah, I thought it was very fair. If you and I subscribed to the Wall Street Journal. By the way, the New York Times hit me for the $25 today. I guess my little deal that didn't you get hit up by them?
Yeah,
and shook down by the New York Times. Today. I was kind of mad about that this morning. So I subscribed to that too in Wall Street Journal, and it was very fair. I think I read from actually even the Republicans that were interviewed for it. They didn't sound like it wasn't like vitriol in my mind. It wasn't like like Trump goes like Sleepy Joe and all that kind of stuff. It wasn't that kind of thing. It was kind of like hey, the president was in a meeting and he said one policy, and then 5 minutes later he discussed another policy, like he backtracked on his position and didn't really realize what he was doing. It was stuff like the theme of it is that it's obvious that he's confused and stuff. So
all right, we'll be right back here in 7 minutes. We're going to Jacktown. Boom goes the dynamite. You've tuned in this hour two of the most incendiary show on the radio, the free-range human show of choice, your daily dose of reality radio. This is the Clay Edwards Show. It's a FAFO Friday. We got Shaun YURTKURAN here in the studio. If you're new to the show, maybe you hadn't heard Shaun before. Shaun is a former 10-plus year assistant DA in Hinds County, worked under Robert Schuler Smith, experienced all kinds of shenanigans, prosecuted the only death row conviction in the state in Hinds County in what, Shaun, the last 20-something years?
Something like that, yeah.
So, like, the only guy on death row right now from Hinds County, you sent there?
Yeah. I believe so. I believe so in Hinds County, unless there's somebody that was like from the 70s that's still alive on there that I don't know about.
Interesting. Good stuff there, man. So we're going to tap into Shaun's knowledge and Shaun is a practicing criminal defense attorney here in town with the YURTKURAN law firm. Free shout out. Shaun, tell them how to get in touch with you.
Yeah, you can just find me on Facebook or call me at 601-906-9094.
Look, man, if you've gotten yourself in trouble, just because you did it doesn't mean you're guilty.
That's always my logo. Just because you did it doesn't mean you're guilty. If you FA'd and don't want to FO, just give me a call. Yeah,
it always beneficial to you to do your effing around in Jackson, by the way. It's harder to negotiate out of it in Rankin. That's a joke. Wink, wink. Before we get into everything real quick, this segment brought to you by our friends at Watkins Construction and Roofing. Guys, you know, Lurk the Drip is coming through somewhere. He's going to find his way in. He's creeping up the roof, coming down the shingle that you didn't know you needed to replace. Give them a call today, or better yet, I don't like giving out phone numbers. Nobody can remember that stuff. Plus, I give out 2 or 3 of my own every show. Check them out online. NoMoreLeak.com. No More Leak. Is it No More Leak or No More? Let's just do the other website address. They got 2 or 3 website addresses for marketing. Let's just do this one. WatkinsConstructionInc.com. WatkinsConstructionInc.com. They're going to come out today, do a not today, but you'll schedule it today. Get a complimentary roof inspection and go read some of their 500, 600 plus 5-star Google reviews, and you'll see that consistently everybody's going to say some version of this. On time, never had to call them with any questions. They called me, kept me abreast of everything the entire step of the way. They worked with my insurance company. They were on time, professional. My landscaping wasn't messed up. I barely knew they were here other than my roof repairs got done. There wasn't any bumpity bump, dirty music playing while they were out there working. They weren't drinking on the job. None of that stuff that some of these other roofing companies co-sign on when they send these independent contractors out to do their roofing for them. None of that. Watkins Construction Roofing going to be professional the whole step of the way, every step of the way. You can check them out today. WatkinsConstructionInc.com, locally owned and operated right here in Mississippi, operating statewide, by the way, and in Alabama. Watkins Construction and Roofing. Shaun, I have been just sitting back the whole show.
Me too. Waiting
on this.
Yeah.
Michael Deere will be calling soon, asking why you just called Lurk the Leak, Lurk the Drip. Oh, is it Lurk the Leak, Lurk the Drip, Leak, whatever? Lurk. I'm just glad I got that right. I've been winging it here. I need some copy, some fresh updated copy. I'm having to get this from watching the TV commercials. So, Jackson, I've got it pulled up here. Shaun, do we want to play the 6-minute video, or do we want to just jump into it?
Yeah, that's a long video, right?
That is.
It's a great video. If anybody wants to go to the website and watch CJ's video, it's excellent.
So I want to credit Kingfish first.
Yeah, sure.
Kingfish actually was a week ahead on this very thing here, and with his interview with Ashby Foote, where Ashby said that D.A. Jody Owens, Hinds County D.A., who Shaun did not work for, Jody Owens, for some reason has gotten himself involved in economic development.
Yeah.
And so Jody set up a meeting with Ashby and these mysterious developers. Mm-hmm. And they discussed multiple things, tearing down crack houses, blighted property, tearing down blighted property, which, I mean, we can all get behind that, right? A convention center hotel, multiple things. But one of the questions they asked was, how do you get things done in Jackson? Yeah. Basically insinuating whose wheels do we have to grease?
How does Jackson work?
I'm just going to tell y'all, as somebody who operated a business in Jackson for 10 years and my dad operated one in Jackson for 40 years, wheels get greased in Jackson. It just always has, always will, from JPD to City Hall. If you don't think that's happening, you are full of it. We're propositioned more than one time to make headaches go away by greasing somebody's wheels. I'm not saying we did it. I'm just saying Yeah, we were
hypothetically.
We were told how to get it done.
Yeah, sure.
You remember the city councilman that the strip club owner John Adams turned informant on?
Which one is that?
It was, I can't remember his name. It was him and his son, I think, got caught up in it. They were going to rezone that stretch of McDowell Road where Pops is to I-1C2 so that building next to Pops could be a strip club.
Okay.
And it was all, I can't remember the guy's name. Anyway, so city councilman being bribed is a Jackson tradition.
Like the guy that faked his own death in the 80s? The Jackson city councilman, you know?
Oh, I don't remember that.
Yeah, the one that faked his own death. Yeah, I forget, Edward Kate or something like that. I'll have to look it up. And yeah, he faked his own death, burned up, like put a body in a car, like set it on fire, like made it like it was him, and disappeared to Georgia. And then he got caught eventually.
Did he kill the person whose body?
I think they initially thought that he did, but they never were able to prove that. It was like he may have just exhumed a body, and this is like in the early 1980s. Yeah, this city has never been right, man.
Louis Armstrong
was
the guy that bribed.
Oh, yes.
John Adams.
That's right. Louis Armstrong. I do know that story. Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
So that was very interesting because, John Adams was my nightclub rival.
Ed Cates. I just got a text. Ed Cates is the guy that burned up the person in the car.
That is interesting. I've never heard that story.
There was a good New York Times article about it. I read not a couple weeks ago. Yeah. And then he was like pretending to be like a general or military officer in Georgia, and he would send his wife money. And then eventually they just figured out he was still alive because he stole like hundreds of thousands of dollars.
So, before we dive back into this, because we got the whole hour for this.
Yeah.
That's a book right there. Is the different Jackson corrupt politicians that have been caught. I mean, I never knew about the guy, and I thought I knew everything about Jackson. I never knew about the guy that
I'll have to give the shout out to Fred Shanks. He told me about it a few weeks ago, and I'd never heard that story. I may have heard it like a thing, but
well, I was just going to say, when Fred's dad, Doug Shanks, passed away, we lost a walking encyclopedia of this stuff. I'm sure there's somebody else out there that remembers bits and pieces, but nobody quite like Doug.
Yeah, I think Fred said his dad took Ed Cates' position on the council after Cates faked his own death. For the commission, whatever.
That's great.
I mean, it's just never ending.
Yeah, actually, Fred just texted and said my dad replaced him as commissioner.
Yeah, there you go.
That's great. All right, so circling back here, the title of this article or this video on WLBT is Mysterious Meetings. Foote and Hartley, both city councilmen, meet with DA developers weeks before FBI raid.
Yeah.
Shaun, so what we know is, and look, and I'm going to tell you, y'all need to go listen to this. Reading it's one thing. It's a 6-minute video. Reading it's one thing. Listening to it's an entirely different. I listened to this thing 6 times last night. And the way that Vernon Hartley
that's the best,
cranks up the bus and rolls it right over the rest of the city council and the mayor, presumably, and then backs back over them, then picks them up and drops them in the deep fryer.
Oh, my God.
Is astonishing.
I mean, shout out
it's
to
commendable.
Vernon. It really is. Shout out to Vernon. I mean, that was awesome.
Like, I'll be honest with you. I was kind of making fun of him a couple of days ago when he was throwing a hissy fit about wanting some of Virgie Lindsay's downtown redistricting because so many people have moved out of the ghettoed out area he's over.
Yeah.
But now I like him.
Now we need to give him that sliver. You've earned it.
Virgie, I think he's earned a bit of it.
Yeah, Virgie, give it to him because Virgie ain't never said anything like Vernon just did to the media. Vernon was just like, they knew I was not about that. That's exactly the way he said that, kind of referring to being, CJ asked him, like, do they give you any intimations that you may be bribed or greased or whatever it was? And he's like, they knew that I wasn't. And I paid for my own lunch at Walker's. He said that too. He paid for his own lunch.
Yeah, paid for his own lunch at Walker's. And but what was funny, so I guess the setup here, because we're kind of jumping ahead.
Yeah.
The setup is Hinds County D.A. Jody Owens has these mysterious investors who want to build a convention center hotel, amongst other things, right?
Right.
And he's interviewing, and I guess what they want to do is they want to talk to city council people. They don't come out and say it, but the assumption is they want to figure out if they're bribable.
Yeah, and they also seem to be like these real estate developers, I guess we could call them, right? Who are presumably, they're FBI agents. Is what we're guessing here.
They're either FBI agents or FBI informants because they've gotten themselves in trouble, and now they have to, crap rolls downhill, so to say.
Right. I mean, and it seems like the setup with them for this real estate developers, like they didn't have, Ashby said they didn't have any pamphlets. Vernon and Ashley both said they didn't have any business cards. I mean, we've been in sales. Like sales, you're handing out everything. Everybody going to be listening that's in sales. You got business cards, this, that,
And Vernon didn't mention this, but Ashby did. That he thought it was a little weird that it was kind of a casual Friday sort of thing.
Yeah.
They were just like khakis and a polo, not. You said when you meet with people who are going to be doing $100 million plus investments and you're meeting at the Capitol Club.
Yeah.
Hell, I thought the Capitol Club had a dress code anyway. I thought you had to wear a suit to get in there. Just made it a point to mention they weren't wearing suits. They didn't look like your traditional real estate developers that would be looking at making this kind of investment. Even me, Shaun, I own one suit.
Yeah.
If I was to have a meeting today with a city councilman somewhere about doing business in their town, I would want to make the best impression possible. I'm shaving. I'm cutting the haircut. I'm putting on the suit.
Yeah, the suit. Yeah.
The suit, and I'm going to go talk to him. So even that even I found that weird.
Yeah,
I know that some 100 millionaires, billionaires can be eccentric and they just walk around in flip flops and khaki shorts. I get that too, but not for this. Like they get dressed when they got to.
Yeah, no, that was a big part of it, he said. And then the fact that I guess they didn't have a specific plan of exactly what they wanted to do. It was just all generalities, is what it sounds like. It didn't seem like they said, we're going to do X, Y, and Z.
Correct.
We just have generalities, and so it wasn't specific enough. And so he came out of that meeting, Ashby did, and it seemed like Vernon did as well. It's like, this doesn't really seem like this is going anywhere.
Now, in all fairness, they did say that there was never an offer to bribe.
Right.
But they both said it was beyond obvious the energy, especially looking back now, since the indictments, not indictments, but the raids, that there have in fact that they felt like they were being set up to be bribed. But I think Vernon is holding back a little.
That's what I thought watching that.
I think he's holding back. Because he was like, I made it clear to him that I wasn't about that life. Well, why would you randomly make that clear to him if there was never some insinuation that's what it was?
Exactly. That's what I thought when I watched it. Like, because I mean, if I'm just going to have a meeting with somebody, I don't automatically assume I'm going to be bribed. No. You know what I mean? Like, so why would I have to make that clear to anybody that I'm not bribable? If you know what I mean? Because like, do you go in every meeting assuming you're going to be bribed? Maybe he does. I guess maybe he's had so many meetings that happens when you're a city official. But it seems to me something happened where he got the message that they were putting it that way, and then he kind of put it out there like, nah, I ain't going to take any money. That's the way I took it, what he was saying.
Well, look, here's the deal. Even if I am bribable, I'm not going to, this is just common sense stuff here, and I know that it goes above people's head in Jackson sometimes. No. I'm not going to be with the top law enforcement official in the county, the DA.
Yeah.
He ain't setting me up.
That's a good point. I didn't even think about it that way.
You ain't I ain't breaking the law with the law.
You're like, here's the DA. It's like the sheriff is in there, and you're like, wait a second here. I don't know about this.
Yeah. Now, the mayor, sure.
Yeah, if it's Chokwe and like bringing the investors, you're like, okay, this is definitely a dirty deal.
Yeah.
You're like, we know that this is a dirty deal.
I mean, like Chokwe, because you have mutually agreed destruction.
Yeah. He's not working with law enforcement. We know that, right?
Right. He hates the cops.
Yeah, he's not.
He hates the cops. So they ain't working together.
No.
So with Chokwe, I feel like they've been vetted. I'm safe.
Yeah, I mean that's like a drug deal gone good. That's one of those things.
Like trying to break the law with Jody. I feel like I'm selling dope to the policeman that got a problem.
Yeah, like I'm calling the police when someone steals my cocaine. Like someone done stole my cocaine.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe that's the vibe he got, but he clearly says that I made it clear that I ain't the one.
Right. Yeah, he said that. He said he made it clear, and so I mean, and also if you take that, if you listen to Ashby too, I think Ashby is saying that they were trying to bribe me, or I thought it was at least maybe they didn't bribe them at that one meeting, but that was intimations in future meetings that may come out. That's kind of the way it sounds like he felt. That I'm taking from that. I mean, that he said, like, this is something that's going, the wrong way or potentially will go the wrong way.
And then there was another part. I'll tell you, let's take a break. When we come back, I want to get into Jody Owens putting in the bid for the Convention Center Hotel and then not setting up the LLC till after that bid. This is the Clay Edwards Show with Shaun YURTKURAN. We're digging into the FBI investigation or raids or whatever you want to call it into Hinds County and Jackson officials. This is what we've been waiting on. We're on the cusp of something huge potentially going down here in Jackson over the next couple of days or weeks. We'll be right back on the Clay Edwards Show. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. This segment brought to you by Mercy House Adult and Teen Challenge Auto Center right down there in Crystal Springs, Mississippi. Guys, you're looking for a vehicle in the $10,000 to $20,000 range? Start at mercyhouseautocenter.com. Get down there, start online, find what you want, get down there, go see them. They got financing available for all credit situations, from bad credit, no credit, to great credit. They can get you rolling at Mercy House Auto Center. And here's the other thing, man. They're a 501c3, so that means that the money that they make goes to help fund Mercy House Adult and Teen Challenge, which helps beat addictions and get fathers back in homes. Also, you can donate a vehicle, running or not, that you may have sitting in your driveway. Business owners, you may have an expiring fleet of vehicles that you need to get rid of. Get that tax write-off. They'll come pick them up. All you got to do is have the clean title, and they'll come tow them off, drive them off, take them off your hands, and you'll get the tax write-off. It's just that simple. Sent somebody down there to them the other day. So check them out, mercyhouseautocenter.com. Guns and Gear text line, 769-241-1944. And the Mazda of Jackson phone line, 601-879-0002. Somebody just tried calling the text line. We don't take calls on that. So you got to call the Mazda Jackson phone line, 601-879-0002. All right, Shaun. So I don't know if we're fast forwarding or rewinding here. We're discussing the big WLBT story that came out that kind of dovetailed off of Kingfisher's original story. Sorry. Kind of dovetailed off Kingfisher's original story in an interview with Ashby Foote. Now they've kind of recreated that interview and added the Vernon and Virgil. I get their names mixed up.
Too many V names.
Yes, a lot of V's.
Yeah.
Vernon Hartley interviewed with CJ LeMasters, and CJ did a great job on this too. And I'm just, side note, Shaun, so we've been hearing stuff since this all happened.
Sure.
And I've been poking and prodding at these people in the press, these real journalists, to please dig and do as much as you can so we can talk about this stuff. So kudos to all of them for doing the thing and helping get these stories out there so we can talk about them. And because at the end of the day, I'm not a journalist. You're not a journalist. Mm-mm. But we have a lot of sources.
Yeah.
And we hear a lot of things, and man, this all matches up with everything we heard initially.
We are definitely the street committee. I think that's what the DA's office, we used to call it, the street committee.
We're the streets committee.
The street committee.
I used to have a DJ named DJ Too Tall, and he would say, man, just like he would always tell me he could predict the crowd at the clubs, and he said, man, the streets is talking.
Yeah.
The streets is talking. It's going to, everybody's coming here this weekend, and man, he was never wrong. I mean, if he said, man, the streets is talking, it's going to be slow tonight, we might as well just close the doors, because he was never wrong.
One time we had these one case where, every case someone would be like, well, I heard this on the street, and this is what the street's saying, this. And then one time we didn't have no witnesses, and the lady was like getting mad at me, and she's like, but the street is saying this. And I said, okay, well, I can't issue a subpoena for the street, so I don't know that we can call the street to the stand and question the street, but I get what you're saying, but it is what it is. Yeah. Very familiar with this.
So bring people to the point where, so I want to get to, however we need to do it, I want to get to the reason Jody Owens is setting this stuff up for some reason or another. I don't know that these two things necessarily line up. He's, unless they're going to invest in his business. Anyway, there's a lot of moving parts here. But long story short, the city issues, what's it called, an RFP?
Yeah, RFQ. Request for quote, I guess that's what it is.
Yeah, I guess a request for quote for this convention center hotel.
Yeah.
So developers can put forward their proposals. Well, the DA puts forward a proposal.
Sure.
And does he get it? Do they select him?
I don't see it says that. What it says here is that, so he set up the DAs and these developers, I guess, set up what's called facility solutions team. That group is one of 3 companies that responded to the city's request for qualifications. Here's what it says in the article. It's RFQ's request for qualifications to develop the property across from the street from the Jackson Convention Center. And CJ's got in here, if you look at the Secretary of State's office, this facility solutions team, which I guess Jody Owens is the president of it, wasn't set up until March 19th of this year, March 19th of 2024. So just like 3 months ago. And this was 3 weeks after the meeting with Foote. So I guess when he met with Foote, they didn't have a LLC set up, but they decided after they met with him to do that. But it was a week after the March 12th deadline for responding to the RFQ. So they set up their LLC after the deadline for responding to the RFQ and 3 weeks after meeting with Ashby Foote. Then it said the city decided to put out the RFQ after it received no responses. So they extended the deadline, I guess, of the RFQ from that March 12th deadline. And then they got a few responses, which one were from the Jody Owens group, the Facility Solutions team, and then as well as Speed, like I guess that's Leland Speed's group, Speed Commercial Real Estate, and 2K Development all responded. So there was 3 RFQs that were responded to.
Did you read any of the RFQ?
No,
that Kingfisher posted?
I had not.
Man, I got through about the first page, and it was so much diversity, equity, minority inclusion nonsense in there. I wanted to vomit. Green this. It's just like, I can't do this. No wonder nobody's built anything there.
Right. Was it that bad?
Yeah.
I did not read any of it. I didn't know he had it. I didn't even see that he had it up on his website.
All right. So the assumption here, just to my ignorant knowledge, is that Jody Owens has these developers.
Yeah.
And they're basically going to try to bribe, allegedly, this is just me guesstimating here, they're going to try to bribe the city council people into picking their bid.
That's what it sounds like to me.
That's what they're attempting to do. If
we're playing this forward, what it possibly could be, yeah, I mean, I think that's a good assumption, that's what could have happened. Obviously, I think it also says this in the article when you think about it. So the DA, engaging in, private development isn't a big deal. I mean, people have side businesses all the time, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, if it's all on the up and up, who got on him if he wants to develop a hotel, I say. But I think the issue is, now, of course, we don't know whether he was bribed or what the deal is with that. But that's the way the pieces are lining up in that direction, I guess, kind of what you're saying.
To suggest that maybe these developers bribed him by letting him in on it and maybe some money or whatever, allegedly.
Yeah.
And therefore he's flexing his political muscle to try to make these things happen.
Right, with him and the mayor. And then the potential the city council members, whoever it was. And I guess, they approached I think the article says they approached every single council member.
Every council. So that's why you had Stokes coming out a couple of weeks ago saying, y'all know what y'all doing. You need to go and talk to the FBI.
Yep.
And then Vernon
says the
same thing. And that's where I felt like that. I'm telling you, the fact that Vernon has said it and Stokes has said the same words here, it's illegal to lie to the FBI.
Yeah.
It's a crime. It's a felony to lie to the FBI. They're telling you what's going on here if you read between the lines.
Yeah. I mean, also, you can see, and I think this part of this article, and if you refer back to other ones, that the FBI took one of the council members' cell phones, or got one. I don't know which one it is, but they got one of their phones.
Well, the streets is talking and say that it's Aaron Banks and Angelique Lee.
That's right. The street committee is saying that.
The street committee is saying it just so happens to be the two that don't have a full-time job.
Yeah, I did hear that, Angelique Lee's home did get raided by the FBI. Or her daughter posted that on Facebook. Somebody told me. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I'd heard. And she's also being sued for some financial stuff too, right? I think from A1 Printing. I believe that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, for some political signs.
Yeah.
So, and that's relevant to this only because I'm not one to throw salt at anybody for having financial hardships. Been there, done that. Always live in that. I always live in that space. But it would suggest that if you had to sit here and say who is ripe for taking a bribe, any, meeny, miny, mo, who's dealing with financial hardships.
Yeah.
Those are the people who were more likely to potentially, allegedly, take a bribe.
I got an update from, it's Lee and Banks phones.
Yeah. So
that they did
the street committee was correct.
Correct on that. So they took those, and, now we have the mayor and the DA, I guess, all, involved in this whole thing. And there's, other interesting development. I don't know if you want to make to the next segment. How much time do we got?
Let's go to the next segment. This is the Clay Edwards Show with Shaun YURTKURAN, trying to stay on schedule today. One day we'll just blow through all the commercials, but we can't afford to do that yet.
Yeah, we just can't. Matt would get mad about that.
Matt would get upset. No, we're having fun today, man. This is what it's all about, man. This is why I started this, was to help expose this stuff. And again, not saying that anything I've done has had, or Shaun's done has anything to do with it, but we're dang sure going to use this platform to broadcast it, to amplify these voices. And I know y'all love that type stuff. Shaun.
Oh, and I do have an update. Also, they also confiscated the mayor's phone as well.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. That's great. I'm dealing with a little erotica over here right now.
Just all right. You just stay over there.
These things could cut glass.
Yeah, right.
We'll be right back.
Maybe some ice in here.
Yeah, we'll be right back. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. Guys, lunch real quick. Johnny's Pizza House, Gluckstadt. Get over there today. Do you want some delicious food that is one of a kind? Johnny's Pizza House is a beloved institution rooted in the heart of Louisiana. It isn't just a place to grab a slice. It's a slice of Louisiana life. Johnny's has your favorites, but also is your destination for something unique. Here's just a few of the pizzas. The Hog Heaven, the Maui Wowie, the Mighty Meaty, the Muffaletta, Sweep the Swamp, Sweep the Kitchen. They got the keto crowd covered too. You can turn any pizza into a crustless pizza, and they got lunch specials starting as low as $5.99. Get over there today. Located in Gluckstadt, right there by Germantown High School, right in front of the Mack Hike dealerships. That's Johnny's Pizza, available for dine-in, carry-out, and delivery in Gluckstadt, Mississippi today. Man, can't beat that price.
Sounds good.
All right, Shaun.
Yeah.
Where were we at?
We were just discussing the LLCs and the requests for quotes that were put out. Yeah.
And the phones that were taken by the FBI.
Yeah, the phones are taken of Angelique Lee and Aaron Banks and the mayor. And
kind of how all this ties together potentially.
Mm-hmm. And of course, we've heard street committee stuff about a grand jury, right? We've heard that,
We have. So this next thing here, this is us putting a puzzle together.
Mm-hmm.
This is not confirmed. This is just saying this piece fits really good right here, if true.
Yeah.
And I'm going to let you say this because this is your work here.
Sure. So after the story came out, I did some digging. So there's what's called PACER, and it's the federal court system website that attorneys and other people can have access, public record.
Yeah.
And just like the state has what's called MEC, Mississippi Electronic Courts, and you can look up stuff about different cases and statuses and whatnot. So I ran a report of things that were filed in the Southern District of Mississippi from June 3rd, which would have been Monday, till yesterday. I didn't look this morning. Today's the 7th, right? So till June 6th. And what I've seen is there's potentially five sealed indictments that have been filed since Monday. And
that's a lot for an area like this, you would say?
I don't really know. I don't know how to speculate that. I mean, I just wonder what else they could be pertaining to. Now, it could be something else, and completely nothing.
Let's not speculate on what else it could be. Let's make sure we just stick here because I don't want to dirty up anybody's name.
No. I don't mean I wasn't going to name any names or anything. I'm just saying maybe it was some other case that we never heard of and that they just was sealed. But I mean, there's definitely five sealed documents here. Now, two of them are.
Explain what a sealed indictment is, because I've heard this a little bit lately, and I'm just a rudimentary definition.
Yeah, sometimes the federal government, and this happens in the state, can do it too, where the indictment will be sealed, so you don't know who it is, who's been indicted, until it's actually, in the state we call it the capias is served on the person. So once it's served, then it's public record. So it's not public until it's served. So right now these are unserved indictments that are under seal.
Okay.
And the defendant has not received their indictment, and they don't know that they're indicted.
Okay. So this timeline wise, you're saying this is from Monday through yesterday.
Correct.
So timeline wise, this would tie in to the grand jury that convened last week down on the coast.
That's what the reports that we're hearing, that's what happened last week. Yeah, that there was several people that went down there, and these are, of course, I've not talked to anybody that was at the grand jury. This is what I hear street committee wise. This is what happened on the coast. So this was
this is public information.
Yeah, this right here is, you can go up and look it up. I mean, there's five sealed. Now it could be actually three sealed indictments, because the cause numbers are the numbers on indictments. They'll be like 24-1-100. Like start 2024, and there's two of them that are like, one's 553 and 554. I don't know the way that the feds do it by count, and by count what I mean like count one, honest services fraud, count two, bribery or whatever. I don't know if they differentiate the numbers.
Gotcha. So it could be
It could
three
be three.
people.
It could be
somebody,
three people,
and somebody has more than one.
Yeah, that's. I mean, it could be. I mean, it could be. I don't know how the feds do their system. I'm just more familiar with the state. And the state, we'd have the same cause number, like I said, 24-1-100, and then we just put like parentheses 1, 2, for the counts. So they may do it that way too. So this is either 3 or 5 indictments is what I'm looking at here, and which were again filed on Monday or sometime between Monday and Thursday.
Man, there's a lot of stuff out
Yeah, I mean, that's it's pretty, and again, we don't know. I mean, we don't know if that's Chokwe or Jody or Angelique or Aaron. We don't know that. I mean, so there's no way to know that. These are just, they're under seal. So
and look, man, I've heard a lot about Jody over the last year. I had lunch with a guy through some mutual friends a couple months ago. This was just a purely coincidental lunch. Mm-hmm. Some friends of mine's own a bunch of rental houses around town.
Were these real estate developers?
No.
Okay. Just making sure.
These are legit guys. They own legit businesses. There's above board of anybody that I've ever met in my life.
Okay.
I paid for my own lunch. We were just having lunch at Nukes. Actually, no, one of them did buy my lunch. But, so anyway, they had another guy with them. Mm-hmm. And obviously I'm not going to mention his name or anything, but I sat down and he's like, man, you look really familiar. And he kind of starts interrogating me a little bit.
Yeah.
He's like, you friends with Jody Owens? I said, I will get up and I'll stab you with this fork if you ever accuse me of being friends with a George Soros funded DA again. It got real serious real quick. And I said, you probably recognize me from my videos talking about them and calling them criminals and George Soros funded.
Gotcha.
And he's like, yeah, that must be what it is. He's like, I tied you two together. I said, no. I said, we've never been in a room together.
You weren't you didn't go with him. You weren't part of this facility solutions team, were you?
No.
Okay.
No.
I don't know. You've had a lot of downtown business before, Clay.
Well, so come to find out, this guy claims that him and Jody were in business together.
Okay.
And Jody hustled him out of a lot of they did some rental houses together.
Okay.
And he kind of got the bad end of the deal and was kind of told what you got to do. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I'm DA.
Oh.
Allegedly. I'll throw a big allegedly out here, but I just think, I think it speaks to the character of the person we're talking about here. And the kind of stuff that it may set the understanding of why he thinks he can get away with anything.
Yeah, I know,
If true.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't know. I don't know him that well. I told you, I think I told everybody when we talked about this a few weeks ago that I was kind of shocked as to him. But Chokwe, I was like, this totally makes sense. Like it wasn't anything. But him, I don't know, just on face value, he just didn't seem. But I don't know him personally, so I can't speak to his character or anything like that. I knew a lot of people that do know him, but I think everybody, the general consensus of the community that I get is that everybody was shocked that he potentially is involved in something like this.
Well, it's shocking if you know look, I don't like counting somebody else's money, but I grew up out that way, and we were always told that the Owens family had long money.
Okay.
Really?
I know what you mean.
You know what I mean? Like long money.
Oh, I know what you mean.
Generational wealth.
Yeah.
And then you look at Jody's position, and as he owns some businesses. Do you need to do this?
Yeah, and his wife's an OBGYN, I think.
Yeah. Like, do you need to do this? Put yourself in this, expose yourself like this.
Yeah, he's a naval officer as well. He's
greed is a MFer, man.
Yeah, obviously. I was talking to my dad about this whole scandal. I'm like, how could these guys be involved in this? And and he's an old stockbroker from the '80s, and he's like, son, greed, man, it gets you, And to some people, it really does. And
what's the pride before the fall?
Yeah, I mean, and because to me, I was like, God, how can you guys do this? I mean, I don't know. When you look at the mayor, that seems like he's evil. I get it. You know what I mean? He's a hustler.
He's a bad guy in a Bond movie.
Yeah, I mean, he's just he's born that. Like I was born this way. Like he was born this way. He's that guy. But I think there's some people that weren't, and then just kind of fall into it, and and that's kind of been my impression about potentially whatever Jody's involvement is.
Yeah, Jody's got a bit of a villain arc here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see what you're saying. Yeah, absolutely.
Because it didn't have to. He could have been Batman.
Yeah,
but he chose the
It's
other
Harvey
side.
Dent,
Yeah.
like doesn't Harvey Dent go the wrong
Yep.
way? And he was the DA, yeah.
Exactly. That's really what happened here, if true.
If true, yeah. It seems like, look, I think we've heard, it's lining up in this direction that we're going to see probably one of the biggest political corruption scandals this city has ever seen, and maybe the state has ever seen, kind of the way things are being described. So, I think it's going to be totally shocking once it all comes out.
I do too. And like I said, again, knowing what we've heard via the street committee, and so far, every single bit of it's checked out. Mm-hmm. I'm just telling y'all, I don't care if it breaks at 9 o'clock one day. I'm Katie barring the door here, and I'm hijacking the radio station for the next couple hours. Sorry, Jameson. Sorry, Chip. Sorry, Mike Madison.
Yeah.
Sorry, Chris. Sorry, whoever is on at the 9 o'clock hour. Clay and Shaun are taking over, and we're gonna run a marathon, breaking this thing down from every angle. Mm-hmm. So let's take our last break, come back, land the plane for the week. We're here on a FAFO Friday with Shaun YURTKURAN on the Clay Edwards Show right here on WYAB. All right, welcome back in. Hey, guys, if you're out car shopping this weekend, go out to, if you're looking for a new car, get out to Mazda of Jackson right there, Northside Drive. I'm sorry, not Northside Drive, Briarwood Drive on Frontage Road at 55 there. Right, it's the old Mercedes-Benz location right there, Mazda of Jackson. Shop them online, MazdaofJackson.com, where every vehicle purchase comes with a 43-inch TV complimentary and a free lifetime powertrain warranty. Also, if you're looking for a good used vehicle, get out to Brandon, see Mr. Noel Daniels Motor Company right there. Go see Daniel Freeman, Noel Daniels, and the great team over there for all your late model pre-owned vehicle purchases. They also have the Icon electric golf carts and scooters. You can shop them online at noeldanielscars.cars. Noeldaniels.cars. All right, Shaun, we dropped a lot of information this morning.
Yeah.
I thought we had two really good topics there. About the gun stuff, I thought was a good one.
Yeah,
just because it's an interesting moral question, constitutional question. And then I think the Jackson stuff is obviously right in our wheelhouse. Teddy has a question on the Guns and Gear text line, real quick, to kind of close out the day. Because financially, other than power, why would a successful attorney want to be DA?
Many reasons. You serve your community. I think that's one. Yeah. You're a career prosecutor. I don't know. I would have, if I could have run for DA back when I was I would have done it. I would have loved to do it. There's many reasons. Just like you enjoy that profession and, being a prosecutor. Many reasons.
And then and once you've been DA, then you get back into private law. There's just there's that air about it.
Yeah. It's like
everybody can't be DA.
Right, everybody can't be DA. Especially even me when I'm, now practice law again. That I've been on the other side for so long. It's kind of an asset to my clients because I know how that works. And so there's a lot of reasons you'd want to be DA.
It's like hiring a CPA that was an IRS agent.
Yeah, exactly. The Jody though, I don't know. He wasn't. I think he worked at Butler Snow for a while, and then he went to the Southern Poverty Law Center. I think that was kind of his career track.
That should have been the red flag.
That's what.
The Southern Poverty Law Center.
Yeah.
those are American-hating terrorists, in my opinion. That should have definitely been the red flag, the Soros money and more. And that really, we really need to start looking at these DAs better. They get this George Soros money. We really, really do, because this is the kind of stuff that they're going to end up being involved in potentially. We don't need corruptible people in that position. Shaun, two great shows this week, brother.
Yeah.
Thank you. We'll see you next week. If news breaks, Shaun will be here to break it with me. This is the Clay Edwards Show. See you guys Monday. Peace.